If you clicked on this video, you might be feeling a bit uneasy about your job security. Maybe something feels off at work lately. Well, you're probably not imagining things. I'm Kyle, a career coach who's seen all the patterns of looming layoffs. Today, I'm sharing 10 early warning signs that layoffs might be coming some months down the line, what I call yellow flags. Now, before we dive in, let me be clear, these signs could mean nothing. Companies face challenges all the time. That's why I asked an experienced tech manager, Margaret, to chime in with her observations from 30 years in the field. But when you see multiple yellow flags waving together, that's when you need to pay attention. So grab a coffee while it's still free at your office, and let's talk about what to watch for. The first sign is subtle but telling, a shift in executive messaging. Monday's all-hands meeting used to be about innovation and growth, but lately, every other word is efficiency, operational excellence, or my personal favorite, doing more with less. When leadership starts speaking in cost-cutting code words, they're preparing the organization and maybe themselves for tough decisions ahead. But Margaret, you had a counter-argument here.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I'd point out here that some of this messaging can be normal, depending on the company and the context. If you're working in a fast growing startup, then your company could have been in the just ship it mode, where inefficiency and some corner cutting with quality was okay to get those first customers. So, improved efficiency and operational excellence may be a natural stabilization, but doing more with less? Yeah, that's not good.
That's a good point about startups and scale-ups. So, let's look at the next sign. Number 2 hits close to home for many of you. Training budgets reduced. Remember that conference you were excited about? Suddenly it's not in the budget. That software certification you needed? Maybe next quarter. I had a client who noticed his company stopped approving any professional development. 6 months later, 20% workforce reduction, the company had stopped investing in employees they weren't planning to keep. Here's number 3, intensified family messaging. Isn't it interesting how companies become really focused on culture right before things go south? Suddenly there are mandatory fun events, values workshops, and emails about how we're all in this together. Real company culture doesn't need constant reinforcement. When they're overselling the family narrative, they might be compensating for something.
Oh, I've seen this one, and experienced as I am, I don't get why companies bother. What do they think they'll achieve?
Well, for that one, I'm going to ask this channel's workplace psychology expert, Laura, why would a company go all family rah-rah when they're preparing to let people go?
It's strategic distraction, Kyle. Plain and simple, like morale is tanking because the workload is going up and budgets are frozen. So leadership knows bad news is coming by flooding the airwaves with this intense, almost frantic reinforcement of values and culture. They're trying to stabilize the workforce psychologically. They're hoping to keep the best talent from leaving before they have to make the cuts.
Wow, that's a bit cynical, but it makes sense. Okay, sign 4, that's frequent town halls with absolutely no substance. Thanks for joining our monthly update. Revenue is challenging, but our people are our greatest asset. Any questions? No? Great. Sound familiar? When leadership increases communication frequency but decreases actual information, they're managing anxiety, theirs and yours.
Hey, Kyle, you know a lot of people kind of tune out in town halls, right? I just had here that if employees are seeing some of these other yellow flags, maybe pay a bit more attention to what's being said in the next town hall.
Thanks for keeping it real, Margaret. Okay, number 5 might seem petty, but it matters. Small perks disappear. The holiday party moves from the fancy hotel to the conference room. The kitchen snacks go from mixed nuts to just peanuts. The good coffee becomes the cheap stuff. I know it sounds trivial, but these are the easiest costs to cut first. It's like watching someone tighten their belt. A 1 notch might be nothing, but 3 notches? They're feeling the squeeze. Sign 6 requires reading between the lines. Office consolidation discussions. We're exploring hybrid work to give you more flexibility. We're optimizing our real estate footprint. Hot desking is the future. Translation, we're looking at our biggest fixed costs, and real estate is expensive. When companies suddenly embrace remote work after years of resistance, it's often about finances, not flexibility.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here because in the last 2 years, this seems to be going in the opposite direction, Kyle. Some companies have gone heavy on return to office, and then we've seen layoffs. Laura, what's your opinion here?
So here we're talking about quiet firing, making employees so dissatisfied with working conditions that they choose to quit. No layoffs required, and it's not a myth, although it may not be as widespread as you might think. In a survey in 2024, 25% of C-suite executives said they hoped for some voluntary departures during an RTO, but still, let's not overplay this one. There are other factors driving RTO. Kyle, this is worth a standalone video, I think.
I agree. But for now, I'll move on to number 7, which can be hidden to many employees depending on their roles. This flags behind the scenes. It's vendor renegotiations. Companies squeeze suppliers before they squeeze staff, but it's part of the same cost-cutting journey. You may notice this when your favorite tools disappear and you're told to use an open-source alternative, or that contract for specialist testing services isn't renewed. Margaret, you wanted to jump in here?
I point out that the company's cost cutting here may be because the supplier has been jacking up prices when they figured that they had a guaranteed client. I've seen the cost of third party tools double from year to the next because the first few years were heavily discounted. If that's what's going on, you'll probably find someone in procurement or platform that will happily grumble your ear off about sudden cost hikes that they are trying to control.
Fair point, Margaret. But sign 8 should make employees nervous. Open positions sit unfilled. That teammate who left 3 months ago, still not replaced. The job posting is still active, but somehow, no candidate is quite right. Here's the truth. The position is probably already gone. They're seeing if the team can absorb the work before making it official.
I'll jump in again, Kyle, to give the counterpoint. If the company is a scale up or they have a division that is rapidly growing, the open positions in that division may have been stolen, for want of a better word. AI is the culprit here. Many companies are scrambling for AI talent, and if the paperwork to get approval for open positions is onerous, well, I've seen a bit of thievery going on as the more backed division is allowed to take from the less backed division.
Interesting. AI strikes again, eh? Well, on to number 9, which breaks my heart a little. A shift from innovation to maintenance. Remember when your job was exciting? New projects, new challenges? Now it's all about keeping the lights on and focusing on core operations. When companies stop investing in the future, it's because they're not sure they have one, at least not with the current structure. Our final yellow flag, senior people leaving for new opportunities. When one executive leaves, it's normal. When 3 leave in 6 months, pay attention. Senior folks often see the writing on the wall first. They have networks, they have options, and they have inside information. Watch especially for departures in finance, operations, or HR. They know things.
Thanks for that, Kyle. Now we've got to the end of the yellow flags. What do you advise people do if they're seeing these flags?
First, don't panic. Now is the time to take smart, subtle actions. Update your LinkedIn profile, just a refresh, nothing dramatic. Reach out to old colleagues for catch-up coffees. Start building that emergency fund if you haven't already. Document your achievements while they're fresh, and most importantly, stay alert for escalation. Look, seeing 1 or 2 of these signs means nothing. Companies always have challenges, but if you're counting 4, 5, 6 of these flags, it's time to quietly prepare. The gift of yellow flags is time. Time to prepare, time to network, time to plan your next move on your terms. In my next video, I'll cover orange flags, the serious warning signs that mean it's time to actively job search. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss it. Have you noticed any of these signs at your company? Drop a comment below, and if this video helped you, share it with someone who might need it. I'm Kyle, and I'm here to help you navigate your career with confidence. See you in the next video.
You may have noticed that this is a new channel, so a like and a comment would also help a lot.